Everything. Yeah. Like, I think that's the thing about people that are entrepreneurial, like us. We have this idea that, like, we're independent people and therefore we can do it all. Mm-hmm. The ones that are doing the best, all of them have a team.
Yeah,
all of them. Definitely. In any different realm.
It's a ceiling you hit because if you're trying to, you yourself are focused on doing everything, there's no growth that's really.
Right, you're gonna get stagnant.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Social Toolkit. My name is Leslie and I'm here with my good friend Andre, and we've got Addison behind the scenes taking over today, and we are so excited to talk to you about how you can open your creative box. And today we're talking about embarking on new things.
Yes, embarking.
I was looking at different things this week on what we wanted to talk about, and I saw this Instagram post and it was just talking about all these different things. And one thing that stuck out with me was the post itself, and it said, like, your first podcast is gonna suck. Your first YouTube video is gonna suck.
Encouraging.
And it gave these list of things, but it just basically said, like, so just go out and get it over with. Mm-hmm. And I think it dawned on me, like, we need to have the courage to fail.
Yeah,
we need to have the courage to go out and fail in order to succeed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. It makes sense. You don't want to think. You don't want to think like that because, like, no, you want your best work to always be everything that you do from the first step to the second step to the third step.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a true statement as far as it is not going to be your best, but you have that passion for it to be the best when it is your first. But.
Well, and I think too, like, it could be your best. Like, you could go out and do it for the first time and it could be the best thing you've ever done. But I think just having the courage to do it anyway, even with the sense that you might fail, mm-hmm. is worth it more than being safe.
Yeah.
And I think in America, we have a tendency to be safe because being safe means we get the return on our investment. And being safe means, like, we make money. So, like, we go corporate because we know that that's a safe job for us.
Sure.
And sometimes I think it's important to realize that, like, taking chances and going for it, mm-hmm. even if it's scary, could actually have more payoff. And we always have corporate. Like, we always have these things to fall back on.
Sure.
But having the courage to go for it, I think, is really important.
No, yeah, it is. And even, I forgot who the YouTuber was, but even nowadays, even the corporate jobs, not even those are really, some of those aren't safe
even corporate.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
They're not as safe as what you think as what they used to be.
Yeah, it used to be one of those things where it's like you get up 8 a.m., you sit in your cubicle, you do this list of things, and then at 5 you go home, you do it again, and you get a salary at the end of the month, and now you're done. But now even corporate jobs, they're always changing and always going. Mm-hmm. And in a way, you even have less uncertainty, but you don't have the control.
Yeah.
So you have all this uncertainty, but you have to completely depend on the company and the company's vision, and it's not your own. Mm-hmm. And you have to just buy into that vision. And sometimes I think for creative people, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about today, it kind of boxes us in, I feel like. Because then, because we are creatives, we always want to go out and do our own thing. We always have our own ideas. And I think that's what makes us different.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, unfortunately, in the corporate world, we kind of lose a sense of that unless you get lucky and you get bought in with a company that does share that vision with you. Mm-hmm. But even still, or if you get in with a company that believes in you and wants to push forward because of you, which is kind of like with me working at Skye Studios. Yeah. Like, I feel like I get to completely be my own person, which is a little bit different than what I initially thought. But I feel like working with you guys, because you're also creatives, we're able to balance each other out and be our own people. Whereas at a lot of these corporate jobs, it's kind of like you're just a number.
Oh,
yeah. And that's,
Yeah, and that's definitely not too, something not too, I'm definitely not too fond of how it's just a number
Totally.
number game. Yeah, you just don't get that. I don't know how I'm trying to say it, but
affirmation, communication, the ability to actually have a say, the ability to actually have a voice, I think. And I think it causes us to be safe because we're like, okay, I need this money on the table, so maybe I'm going to do this video this way, or maybe I'm going to post this content even though I don't believe in it, or maybe I'm willing to like push myself in a way that I disagree with, like moral lines, just to be able to get money, which I think is kind of unfortunate too, you know?
No, definitely an unfortunate thing. But it's even backtracking, it's now, like as we said, the corporate, it's not as safe like it used to be. So it's like you might as well go ahead if you're in that, in the creative field, go ahead and take the risk.
Oh, totally.
If you know you're definitely passionate about what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because you still nowadays still kind of taking some type of risk. It's still in that safe realm.
Yeah.
But it's still now more of a risk than safe with the corporate. So why not just go all out if you're in that field of, you know what you're passionate about and so forth.
And I think speaking of going all out, we're discussing different topics we wanted to talk about before we filmed this. And one thing that just kept popping up was discussing preconceived notions. And I think since both of us were added to Skye Studios, we weren't officially part of the beginning of the startup. I think we both have really interesting things to state about that. So before you got involved with Skye Studios and you were thinking about your future and your career, and I know we're both still in school, but thinking about ways you can get involved and things that you're passionate about, specifically with you with photography and videography and graphics. What were some preconceived notions you had about joining the team before you got on? How has that changed since you've gotten to know Addison and we've all gotten close and really built this team up in a really major way?
Right. I didn't really have any, because before Skye Studios came about, I was already doing different stuff with Addison. So I really didn't have too much preconceived notions besides of what I knew about him and just learn from working on different projects with him, just hanging out with him. Yeah. And then at one point he mentioned to me about going into weddings, and I was like, well, I didn't really film too much at that time. When I was just more into photography and graphic design.
Yeah, totally.
The only filming I did, really, side note to everybody, I used to dance a lot.
He's really good, by the way. Just an FYI, he's super talented.
I think. But yeah, side note, used to
shameless plug.
So that's really the only filming I did, because I used to compete and all that. But that's the only filming I really did. So when he mentioned weddings, I was like, I don't know, I might just stick to the other stuff, doing the other stuff with you. Yeah. And then down the line, when he actually went and did his first wedding, he was keeping me up to date about it and telling me, it went all right and all this. He said what he said. I was like, okay, cool. I still wasn't really too interested in doing it. It was like a curiosity. Yeah. All right. And then I think after the second wedding, he had another group he was working with that we both know. He was working with them, and then they wanted to, go off and do some other stuff on their own. Yeah. So anyway, he called me up and finally asked me, did I want to asked me.
Come on, you got to join. You got to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, say what he said. I was like, all right, I'll try it or do it.
Just give it a chance. Yeah.
So from that point, I'm here today, as you see. Yeah.
And I think that's the interesting thing about Skye Studios and why I've loved being involved myself is that, yes, especially right now, weddings are our base. Videography with weddings are our base. But the team of creative people that we have going, all of us have really our own skill set as far as like the main three of us. You have Addison, who videography is his thing. That is his top thing. But he also does coding. He also does web development. And you have you, who can also do videography, but your strengths lie in graphic design in an insane way and photography. And then you have me, who comes from more of the strategy, social media background, but also is a really creative person, has that photography side. And I think having that sense of diversity is just super important. And that was something that really bought me into joining the startup, because when I was looking at different internships, and I was looking at corporate internships because I felt like that was what you do. That's what is expected out of us. And I think when I found the opportunity to be a part of a company that wants to grow and wants to change and wants to push forward and wants to basically just create an environment of super creative people pushing themselves, pushing those boundaries, hustling, going for it, that was my dream spot. And so I think it's been a super exciting opportunity to be a part of that and be a part of that team diversity, because I think like it's easy in a company, you see your vision, you have this one spot, and I think it's really easy to get streamlined and say, okay, like it could have been really easy for Skye Studios to say like, we're going to do weddings and that's it. That's how I'm going to do everything for the rest of my life. Like Addison could have been that way and said like, this is who I am. I'm not changing it. But I think that like, that's what makes Addison so great, is his willingness to see like, yes, this is what we love doing right now. This is what works for us right now. But at the same time, like there is podcasting, there's influencer marketing. There's so many things that my team is great at. So let's try it. Let's go for it. And I love that about working here.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, diversity is definitely a key to growing and definitely a strength. So
yeah. But I think it makes it exciting to see about the future. And I think as we're both graduating this year, I think it even makes it more exciting to see. Like, do you have any ideas of where you could picture yourself? Do you picture yourself doing videography, or do you picture yourself more on the graphic side eventually? Like, where is your dream spot? Like, where's Andre's sweet spot?
I don't know, personally. I don't know, and I've told Addison this before because we talked about it since we do everything in the world.
True. So true.
But I think it's just like you know how an artist has his canvas and then he has his mini paints, right?
Yeah.
You got multiple colors.
Totally.
To make that one masterpiece or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think the videography is one color, the photography is one color, and then the graphic design is one color, and they're all outlets to help me create.
And I think that is so important too. I was actually talking to somebody on campus about this, and I think we have this notion too that we have to be the best at one thing. And I think you don't want to be the person that's mediocre at a lot of things. You know, you're going to get nowhere because of that. But I think I've learned that if you're good at a skill set, develop the entire skill set. Because especially now in the way the world works and how you contract people out, and that's how people do things, like the more common model for any type of marketing, any type of creative work now is hire it out, you know, do it out instead of having to hire a full-time person for your company. And I think that what makes you stand out is being willing to see like, here's what I'm best at. I'm going to hone in on all of these different things. And I think the paint analogy is so true because I think it's so easy to say like, yeah, I'm just going to do graphics, or like with me, yeah, I'm just going to do social media. You know, when really, like, I don't necessarily picture myself doing social media for the rest of my life. But I know it's something that I can hone in and focus on now, you know?
Yeah. And not a knock to anybody who's just doing something individually.
It's totally.
For somebody like us, we just do multiple things good. And I can't contain and hone in on just
one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too in our realm because you look at these artists and you specifically focus on fine art. So you think about musicians, you think about, you know, artists who paint, who draw, you know, tattoo artists, this kind of whole arena and this realm. And I think it's easy to look at us and put us more in a complete like business side because it's all technology related. It's all electronic based. It's all about, you know, timing and influencing and all of these things. But I think really like that's what makes marketing so incredible is that you have to not only be business minded in a powerful way, you also have to be willing to be creative. And the best marketing people, the best people that are successful at this are willing to grind. They're willing to go for it. But at the same time, they're also not going to get stuck in just one realm and just be okay with just getting, like, I would just get so bored. Yeah. Oh my gosh, like just getting up and saying like, okay, I'm going to get coffee and I'm going to go sit at my computer and I'm going to type this thing for 5 minutes and then I'm going to go and I'm going to have this board meeting and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to eat dinner and I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to do it again. Yeah,
not too appealing.
Sounding and that works awesome for people and people love that, and that's why it's incredible that we live in America in a way where we can be who we want to be. True. I think it's just for creative people, I just wish that I had known like it's okay to be business minded. Like being business minded is good. You can hone in those things together and there's a spot for you. You don't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, and there's actually going back to some people, you know, people just being fine with that routine. There was, and this was a while back, I don't know if y'all had heard of this person. It was an older gentleman. He was actually fine with working at Starbucks for the rest of his life.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't remember the name of his name, but he was fine working at Starbucks, just doing that whole thing the whole time, which is fine, like you said, it's America.
Right. If you love what you do, do it. Yeah. Go for it. But
yeah, he liked it, yeah.
I just never want to get stuck. Yeah. I just never want to feel stuck. But so we were talking about social media earlier. Why don't we discuss with everybody what Skye Studios has been doing with social media, how we've been embarking on new things. You could talk about kind of how you and Addison wanted somebody new for social media if you wanted to. And then we can go in and talk a little bit about how some tactics that we're trying, what has been working. It's very new as far as this new development and all of this, but we should totally discuss kind of our update on what we've been doing. Yeah.
As far as before, you came on. Yeah. I know we have been trying a few different things here and there as far as on the social media marketing side. Addison was keeping more up to date on it, and I was trying to, being the secondary of doing whatever I need to do. Yeah. And when you get caught up, I'm sure a lot of y'all, some of y'all would definitely know this. You get focused on doing this project and that project and this project and that project. You don't, you don't forget, so to say about social media. It's like, I need to get these out the window.
Well, and you can't do everything. Yeah. Like, I think that's the thing about people that are entrepreneurial, like us. We have this idea that like we're independent people and therefore we can do it all. Mm-hmm. And you talk about these huge influencers, these people that are doing social media for a living, YouTube for a living. The ones that are doing the best, all of them have a team. Yeah, all most of them. Definitely. In any different realm. Like people that, even if like you look at the makeup industry, a lot of these huge influencers right now, and like James Charles, Jeffree Star, like all these huge guys who are making huge headway just with being willing to like post pictures of themselves on Instagram. Yeah. And I think like they have a team of 10 people posting for them, editing for them, doing all these things. Like it's okay if you can't do it all, because which goes back to the team diversity thing of like, you need diversity, because otherwise like you're just going to get overwhelmed. It would be like the CEO saying he's going to handle all of his own accounting. Yeah. And there's a ceiling you'll hit with that, because you ain't going to be like we were talking before we started the show. There's a ceiling you hit, because if you yourself are focused on doing everything
there's no growth that can really.
Right. You're gonna get stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're only gonna be able to go so far because you only have so much. Like, even if you're pushing and doing a ton of work, working, 15-hour days, whatever that looks like, you're still only gonna push so far. You're only gonna be able to go so far. Which I think is one of those things too, like with social media specifically, it is a trial and error. And I think that's what we've been kind of going with right now. We have this goal of getting 10,000 followers, organic followers by the end of the year. And when we mean organic, we basically just want to emphasize that we're not going to be the type of people that buy followers. We're not going to go out and do anything like that. We are going to do some promoting, which is totally normal in a business sense. But a lot of influencers, especially people that just aren't educated, you're not talking about the big ones, but there are a lot of people that will go out and buy followers just to be able to make themselves like, look at me, and like I can get all these numbers, look at that.
And you could tell, especially when you look at the engagement or the likes.
Yeah, totally. And I think, speaking of engagement, that's something that we're working with right now because you guys had built up a lot of momentum, but then the momentum just dropped because you guys got busy. Yeah. You guys have been picking up a lot of freelance work, a lot of wedding content. And I think because of that, it kind of dropped. And so you had a few months of nothing. And so because of that, our engagement has just like dropped. So even though we have 5,000 followers on Instagram, we're only getting like 15 likes, And so I think right now that's where we're really pushing and using hashtags and visualizing. And shameless plug, but follow us at Skye Studios Media for Instagram and Facebook. Hey, you'll see it in the intro and you can see it right there. It's up there if you can see it. But yeah, I think it's just, this proves that with social media, it's so temperamental that you have to be going all the time, which is why it's important to have somebody on the team who doesn't specialize in photography and videography, who just specializes in posting that content. Because you have to have somebody, like, if I don't post 5 days a week, we drop. Like, we lose followers. And I just think that's really interesting. And then also engaging with other posts, I've noticed, has been helping us in the past couple weeks of just being willing, like, go out and take 15-20 minutes a day and like your followers' stuff.
Yeah.
Comment on your followers' stuff. Get involved in. If you like something, talk about it.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, because people love the fact that you're active. Because if all you're doing is posting your own stuff, when you're at our size, okay? When you're like huge celebrity, it doesn't matter because people are just obsessed with you and your persona. But when you're a situation of you're a company, you're a brand, and you're wanting people to buy into your vision of your brand, you have to be willing to engage with your consumer base and engage with people in your community. And so with the videography, photography, creative community, one thing that we've really wanted to do is come across very amicable, even with people that would be considered our competition, because really, we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same family. Yeah. And I think that's helped us a lot too. But it's definitely one of those things, like sometimes you get frustrated, like you wake up and you're like, how did, you feel like you've done everything. And I think that's why consistency is just so important. It's so important.
That is one of the greatest keys.
Yeah.
Consistency.
And I mean, we've even felt that with our own private social medias too. As far as
mine definitely taking a back seat.
Do you want to plug your Instagram, or are you afraid?
I'm not afraid.
Like,
if you want to
I don't like the way my Instagram looks right now, so don't find me.
If you want to go check it out, it's Dre, DRE0316. So.
And mine, I am very proud of, and I'm really trying to get to 1,000 followers. So if you want to hook me up at @les_ElizabethJ, come join me. I think I'm like, last I checked, I was literally like 70 followers away from 1,000. Do you know how frustrating that is? Like, I'm so close. I'm so close. Please help me.
Yeah, I'm some ways from that. I'm fine with my content on it. I just haven't. It's been just on backseat with just completing projects. So.
Well, the thing that's interesting too right now, at least, is like there was a huge wave of selfie culture. And that was honestly so convenient because it's really easy to do a selfie. Like, it is so easy to just go in and like, hey, like, look at me, like, look at us. Like, Yeah, put the sound effect in there, the selfie click. But that was so nice, and I was thriving, man, because like you can get really creative with selfies, but now it's like you have to go out and do a model shoot. It's like I wish Andre could just follow me around all the time and just take pictures of me, because like I'll go through a couple weeks and have dope content of like stuff I've done, because I do some photography stuff on the side, and I'll like do stuff of other people, or I'll go out and have time to do a creative shoot, and it's great. But then I'll go through weeks of nothing because I don't have anything, because I'm living my life. Yeah. And it's like you're just expected to, man, like go out and, you know, have all these beautiful Lightroom edited photos constantly. And I'm like, man, like, can we make Instagram a little bit more casual? Like, I just don't have time to commit to that, you know?
Yeah, because the other thing about being in the field, the creative field, it's just you'll get real particular about whatever it is, whatever photo or video you're, you know, editing, and then it's just sometimes hours that you put into it. It's definitely time consuming. And it's that's what I'm trying to say.
Too, like, it doesn't make you any money. Like you go out and do all this major stuff, and then you're like, oh great, I got 100 likes. Yay. You know, which is why but it's worth it. Like, you have to go out and do it. It's what advertising is right now, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
You just it's part of what we just have to do. But dang, sometimes it's just a little bit just like, man, like I feel like I can't have anything to post. Which, speaking of, and we hadn't talked about this before in our plan, but what do you think about Facetune culture? Are you familiar with that at all?
Facetune?
Are you familiar with Facetune at all?
I feel like I am, but I feel like I'm not at the same time. If that doesn't make any sense, I'm sorry.
One, it's just an interesting whole premise at its core. But basically, it's just Facetune is an app, and I'm totally not against Facetune. Let me preface that. I use Lightroom and Photoshop for all of my content. Very similar. Facetune is basically just an app that has taken the basic as far as eye enhancement, things like that, and put it into an application that can be used for the everyday user. And you pay a certain amount and you can get access to it. But the main thing that's really interesting about it is, like, you can change your nose shape, you can change your body shape, you can change, like, it gets so you crazy.
Can physically alter yourself.
You can physically alter the way you look. Now, here's the thing, like, I am all for creative edits, 100%. And I think, like, especially this goes back to the makeup culture thing. So there's a huge makeup influencer named James Charles, and he is like made Facetune go off the charts. And when he posts like his really intense makeup stuff, he wants his eyeliner to look perfect, whatever, like that's fine. Again, like, not bashing Facetune, but I think unfortunately for young girls, it gives them this premise that you have to alter yourself in order to, you know, in order to be beautiful. You have all of these girls who don't just post pictures of themselves anymore. Like, I have a good friend who is gorgeous. Like, she is stunning, and she's like, I have to Facetune my nose because it's just too big.
Really?
Yeah, man. And I just think that's really interesting. And it's not as much about, hey, I'm going to take my natural beauty and enhance it. It's, I have to change myself to meet society standards. And I'm just interested to see, like, somebody who is a photographer, who does specialize in editing, like, what is that for you? Because you work with models all the time, you know?
So there is, there's been a few projects where I had to alter their body kind of, because that's what they wanted.
Right.
And, you know, you do your best to make sure you do enough to change it for them, but you still want it to be natural.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really don't. I'm not too for it. It's like if I have to do it, I will do it.
Yeah, you kind of do it because you have to. And here's the thing, like when you're dealing with paid client work, you put that client first. So if your client wants you to change their eye color, if your client wants you to make you look like you've lost 10 pounds, all these things, you do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, like I am all for creative edits. I'm all for making the client happy. But I think unfortunately, when you have that persona and then you have these models that are supposed to be the ideal, and you have these girls that are normal, like normal college age girls, normal high school, middle school age girls, underage girls, then you feel like, oh, like I have a pimple, oh crap, or like, oh no, you know, like something about me looks strange. And then, so you have these girls that are editing all this stuff, making themselves look completely different. And then you have the guys that meet these girls in person and are like,
yeah, totally.
You know, what? And it's just unfortunate that we don't have the confidence in ourselves to just be who we are, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely an unfortunate thing. I know I seen a while back, it was this, I forgot what magazine company it was, but I was watching this editor edit all these different model photos.
Yeah.
And he was like, there's like completely like shrinking stuff, enlarging stuff, and it was just like, yeah, that's definitely fake. Like,
yeah, totally. And it's interesting too. There's a YouTube channel, and I don't know the name of it. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. But I know that they did a similar thing on the Try Guys, actually, who used to be connected with BuzzFeed. I don't know if you listen to them at all. They're great. But they did this, if I had the perfect face video. So they took and they went to a plastic surgeon, and they went through, and the plastic surgeon told them all the different things they want to change about themselves to be societally like the ideal. And then they gave all those edits to a professional photo editor, just like basically in the same boat as you. And they would say like, this is exactly what I need to look like. And it's so interesting, like how unattractive they looked after the edits. Go watch it and then comment below and see if you disagree. But it's so interesting how like they look so strange because you have it's perfectly symmetrical, because I don't know how into biology you are, but our faces we're not symmetrical beings, right? And so it's interesting how those little flaws, those little things actually make us more attractive than if we were societally like perfect face, like perfect jaw structure, perfect eye shape, all of these things. It's really interesting. And they've there's a YouTube channel, or I don't know if it's a YouTube channel or just a series, but they've done a specific series on taking all these famous influencers and making them ideally perfect. Like they did it with Post Malone. And I thought that was really interesing. Now, Post Malone did look a lot better, you know, with normal hair.
He the one that did.
They gave him a fade. Like he looks pretty good. Love Post Malone yet again. Like I feel like everyone's gonna be like, wow, Leslie really just likes to talk bad about people. Not true. Not true at all. But I just think that's to me, it's unfortunate that we've gotten to this place, because I think we're losing the idea of having inherent confidence, and the fact that like we are who we are. Yeah. And I think it's okay to just be okay with who you are, you know? Yeah. And I think for creative people, it's easy to pin us as the type of people who are totally okay with everybody just being this ideal and buying into fakeness. And I think true creative people would agree that it's all about authenticity.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
And I just feel like that's an assumption that I think we have to kind of unfortunately debunk, because we're all kind of put in this stereotype. And yeah, you want to be authentic. Because if you lose that, then you're just cookie cutter. It goes back to being a corporate number, you know?
Yeah.
So for our final segment, let's talk about some quotes that are famous, you know, motivational, marketing-based quotes. And let's see if we agree with them or not.
Okay. I have a dream. Okay, no. Go ahead.
The incredible Martin Luther King Jr. May he rest in peace.
Indeed.
Okay, so let's pull. Okay, this is a good one. Too many people have $1,000,000 dreams with a $100 work ethic.
True indeed.
Amen. That is so true. Yeah. Amen. Praying hands. Comment
praying
hands below. Praying hands below.
Y'all will know.
Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on it a little bit? Because I think that this is so important.
So I don't think I have too much to say on that besides the fact of people, you'll have this big dream, or you'll see it. You have this big idea, this vision, and you see these people with these visions, or they'll talk about it or whatever, but they just won't put the work in
they won't put the effort.
Go with that vision. And there's so much behind the scene stuff that happens when you see all these celebrities make it to these spots.
And it makes it seem like it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like they just woke up one day and said, I'm famous. And then
right.
You know, like people think that it's just so easy.
But it's really like they've been doing this for like 10 years, and then now they finally, you know, hit whatever it was or met whoever it was that they needed to meet.
Yeah.
And bam, it starts rolling.
Yeah.
So that whole time it's almost like a preparation in a sense.
Yeah.
So this is more, you just got people out there, they have this vision, some great vision, but don't put the work with the great vision.
And it is so important when you are doing a startup and starting to work with people to ask good questions first when you're interviewing new people, because a lot of times these dreamers, these dream types come across like they've got it all together. They're so good. But then they're the ones like in college group projects, I'm sure you've been involved at this, the people that have all these ideas and I have a vision and blah, blah, blah. And they're the ones that never show up to the meetings. They never do anything. And you're sitting there and you have to share credit with somebody who didn't do anything, you know? And so I think when you're working with people, it's so important to see people that see that $1 million in their head and are willing to put in $1 million work.
I had that happen. I forgot what class it was. I can't remember their name. Good thing I can't remember their name. But I was like,
whoever you are, you better get it together. Andre's gonna come for you.
I think I was slightly complaining to everybody else. I was like, they're not doing anything. They need to be doing something. We don't need to be sitting here just letting them, because they were just sitting there not doing nothing.
Yeah.
And that definitely was irritating.
And it's the worst being the person that has a huge work ethic. Like if you're on a team with me, the work's going to get done. I'm a huge perfectionist to a fault. Like I am too much of a perfectionist. And like, so you better carry your weight because the work's going to get done. And I really, really, really don't want to be that person that's doing 90% of the work. Unless it's by choice, you know?
I'm going to get called out, homie.
Yeah.
Called out.
Come for you. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's see. You're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Yeah. I'll let you expand on that one.
Yeah, I definitely think this is true. And I think unfortunately with life, things ebb and flow. And I think that this is where it's important to know innately who you are and don't let yourself be influenced by whoever you're around, because sometimes you're surrounded by people that you love that are incredible but can't necessarily build you up. But I do think when you get to the place where you're having friendships and relationships by choice and not by necessity and not by, like in high school, you know, I went to a public high school, 200 people in my class, pretty average size, but I didn't have my people in high school. I had great people that I loved, and some people that I'm still friends with to this day, but not my core people. And I think you kind of have to learn to be who you are regardless of the people that you're around. And it doesn't mean you're surrounded by bad people. Now, if you are surrounded by bad people and you're seeing that you're being influenced in a bad way, but sometimes you're just surrounded by people that don't drive you enough, that don't push you enough to be better. And I think, again, in a creative realm, like your company, like with Skye Studios, Addison really wanted and still does, whoever continues to join this team, to have that same passion, to have that same drive, and to have similar views on ethics. Because when you start to change that, when you start to have somebody that doesn't fit with that chemistry, then it can make things uncomfortable and you can't have that creative synergy that you have to have. And so I think be innately confident, know who you are, know what you're best at, and surround yourself with people that encourage that and don't tear you down. You know, don't be surrounded by people that dim your light. And I had a lot of my life where I was surrounded by that because of necessity, because of things that I couldn't control. But finally getting to a place where I have people that believe in me, who see what I'm best at and who I'm willing to see what they're best at, and we're able to blend all these things together, that is when you can get so much more stuff done.
Oh yeah.
And you push boundaries that you never thought you could. Like you end up doing things you never thought possible. And it's just because of who you surround yourself with. So find good people.
Yeah, and then when they have that drive like you do, they are able to maybe even expand your mind in a certain way where it's like, oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah. Or I didn't know I could do that. Yeah. So then there's like a whole another world open.
Yeah.
As far as what you can do.
I think this one kind of ties in with it. A majority of people live their lives based off other people's opinions.
Yes. It well, I don't know where to start with that. You go ahead.
This one's an unfortunate truth.
Yeah.
And I think everyone is guilty of this. Like, even people who are fiercely independent. Like, I'm a fiercely independent person, but people are always going to have opinions. Mm-hmm. There are going to be people in the world. You could be the next Mother Teresa, and people will not like you. Like, it doesn't matter. And I think that, like, you have to get to the point where the people that hate you, the hater culture, the canceled culture, you have to just ignore it, because it's going to get to the point where it just tears you down and breaks you down. And there's always going to be people that feel that way. Like, it's always going to be there. So if you know that it's always going to be there and you can't control it, you have to just move forward and be proud of your art. Be proud of who you are and what you're doing, because at the end of the day, like, if you're surrounding yourself and focusing your life because of other people, then are you really happy? Like, I've learned that when I am so focused on pleasing everybody else and not thinking about myself at all, then I am so unhappy. Yeah. And here's the thing too. Like, we need to be selfless people. We need to put other people first. We need to be there for people, but you have to be willing to give to people. And the only way you can do that, I think, is if you build yourself up. And you're strong in who you are, and you're strong in your own creative ability, because if all you're doing is giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, you run out.
Yeah.
And so then you're really not being who you are at all. And your light, the light that has been given to you, who you are as a person, is completely dimmed, and you're no one, and you're holding yourself back because of what other people say.
Yeah, you can be the best person in the world, and there's still gonna be that opinion, the one or two or three or four, or still hundreds of opinions are like against you.
Yeah. I think this is we haven't talked about this one yet. Don't blame other people for the position that you are in. Ooh. Oh, this one is like a little convicting. Like, this one's like, ooh.
Yeah. See, I was good with the first one. I don't know if my bad.
He's acting like he's never done a podcast before. Boy sitting there, hey, how's it going? Hey.
Chill most of it. But
he's acting like he ain't a professional or something.
You started off. I think I'll go halfway on that one.
Go for it. You want me to start again?
Yeah. See, I was good with the first. I was good with the first quote. I was good with the first one. I had him.
You see what Addison and I deal with here, y'all?
I had him. And he's sitting in the back laughing right now.
Yeah, Addison is laughing because he feels my pain right now.
Yeah, you start.
I think this is a place that all of us have been in. And I think, unfortunately...
Say it again for me. They can rewind, but say it again for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to say it again. Don't blame other people for the position that you are in.
Okay. Right,
and I think this, again, all of this goes back to being confident and standing by who you are and taking responsibility for your own actions. Like, you're going to have times where you have been wronged. Like, there are going to be times where you did not do anything wrong, but yet again, like, you can either victimize yourself and dwell on it, or you could go out and take it and make yourself better. And I think that this goes in creative culture, this goes in work culture, this goes in your personal life. Like, you can only control you. So go out and be the best you can be. And who cares about anybody else? And it's like, and unfortunately too, like, even if you have been wronged, it is still your
how you respond to that.
Yeah. And like if you sit there and you respond, if you're not willing to forgive, if you're not willing to move on, and you can't go out and be better, like it's your own fault. Like it's your own fault that you're not making money. It's your own fault why you're just sitting there like nobody loves me and like I'm so lonely. Like that's on you. Like go out and make friends, go out and do it. And I know that sounds really heartless, but it's the truth. And like I have had to have people tell me that in my life. Like get up. Get over it. Move on, because we don't have that much time.
That's where your circle comes in.
Yeah. Circle. Surround yourself by good people. And if you're surrounded by yourself by good people that are willing to say like, hey, Leslie, quit being an idiot and get up and quit complaining and go for it. You know, but I can't blame Andre for my problems. I can't blame Andre for me not being successful, you know? Addison says he can blame Andre though. So
you get this light up too, right behind the camera.
I wish y'all could see Addison throughout this whole thing, man. Gosh. But do you have anything else you want to add to that? I feel like you've had similar experiences to me in that regard.
You know what? I think everything you said was good. I have nothing to add to that.
Y'all. I love Andre Hunter so much.
I actually just forgot the question again.
Y'all, we have Andre on the team for comedic relief. We have to have somebody. We gotta have somebody in here that can give comedic relief.
Yeah, I forgot the quote again.
All right, let's end with one more. Let's see, which one do we want to do?
My bad.
Ooh, this one's a big one, and especially to me. People lose when they think it's going to happen fast. So love what you do. Get through the storm. Be patient. I suck at this.
Just repeat it one more time.
See, I'm not
Repetition
patient.
is key.
People lose when they think it's going to happen fast. Love what you do.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Can we do a rewind sound on the edit? Do it one more time.
We're going to do it again. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
People lose when they think it's going to happen fast. Love what you do. So basically, it goes back to the famous culture thing of waking up and, you know, having $100 mind with $1 million dream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically, like, to me, I am so bad with patience. Like I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get it done, let's go, go. And I think like you do need to hustle, you do need to have that mindset. But I think for me, I've had to learn that like sometimes, like what we're doing with Skye Studios right now, all of this could come to nothing, but we have to be willing to go out and do it and realize like us doing this podcast and putting this podcast out doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go viral,
right?
You know, and we can't get upset and get frustrated if something doesn't take off because it only leads to a new open door. Yeah. And I think you're not always going to get that return on your investment immediately. Like you might go through a year of putting in so much money, so much time into something and receive nothing. But then you'll look back 5 years down the road and be like, holy cow, like all this work is paid off. So just be patient. And I'm talking to myself more than anything. Be patient, take it slow, and take opportunities and never get so stuck in one realm that you're not willing to do something different if it's within your skill set.
Yeah, I don't think I've really ever had a problem with that.
He's a very
pretty
chill
much been
person.
a patient individual.
Andre is one of the most chill, patient individuals I've ever met.
Yeah, I can't really recall any occasion where I've just been, all right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just my problem.
But everything that is, you said is definitely true. But as far as my personal experience, yeah, I've always been able to endure the
endurance.
The time.
Endurance is key, man. Endurance is key.
But yeah, it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. So to the basis of everything, have the courage to go out and fail. Hopefully you won't. but have the courage to go out and do it.
Yeah.
And I think that we just need to be willing to push ourselves.
Especially if you're passionate about what it is. Especially in this creative field. If you're passionate about it, go for it.
And I think this goes with the last part of that quote, like, love what you do. Don't be okay with being unhappy all the time. Like, if you're making, $1 million a year, let's say, but you're miserable, like, why are you doing it? Like,
I've actually heard somebody actually, well, if y'all familiar with the artist, his name is Lil Cray. He actually touched, I forgot what the song was. Maybe, do you remember the song? Anyway, he was talking about, basically, you got people with all this money, but they're still unhappy.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the song.
Yeah.
And that's such true. And there's some type of dynamic. Oh, my bad. There's some type of dynamic. For some reason, the ones who are rich have some type of. They want to switch places.
Mm-hmm. They're not happy
with the other side, and the other side wants to switch places.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I am all for making money. Like, I think if you're successful, you should be rewarded for that. I think people that do make a lot of money, they shouldn't have a bad rap. Like, if you went out, if you're successful, if you put yourself to the grindstone. Confessions by Lecrae. Yeah, that's a good one. Really good. But yeah, like, if you go out and you make bank at doing what you love, yeah, like, all of us should want to be in that spot. Like, we shouldn't want to be in a spot where us pushing our creative selves, opening our creative box means that we have to sacrifice, like, putting food on our table for our families. We don't want to be in that situation. However, like, you shouldn't be doing anything just because it makes you money, because money is going to come and go, but your happiness, your passion, your creative work is going to be there. So find a way, bring that business side and that creative side together in a way to make you a successful person and to be able to do what you want when you want to do it. Because I think all of us could go out, like, we could all go and find jobs. It wouldn't be difficult to find jobs in this country, but it's finding jobs that fit our niche, that fit where we belong. That's difficult. And sometimes you have to just be willing to pave your own way and love it. Love every minute of it. And if you're not happy, it's okay. Go out and find something else. It's okay to, not meet the expectations of society, because those expectations are also going to be fleeting.
And I will throw this, and this is maybe a preference or personal, but I understand certain conditions that may cause person.
Yeah.
Even then, I know I've seen, certain successful businessmen or people, they'll have the same conditions, but somehow they made that extra time or that extra hour to go out and to put toward their passion, to where it ended up being where that passion became full time.
Yes.
And I have seen that.
Totally.
Again, not speaking from personal experience, but just seeing from somebody else's experience.
Yeah, you don't want to be a dreamer with no drive and no willingness to actually be successful. Because if you go in and you're like, I'm a dreamer and I'm an artist and, like, don't mess with my vision and, like, my passion, and you're homeless and, like, be logical, there comes a point where maybe what you love to do isn't what you're good at, and that's okay too. Sometimes you just have to work. But if you're in a situation where you just want to be rich and that's the only reason why you're doing something, reevaluate, because, like, that's not everything. Right. No, it's pretty great, isn't. But it's not everything, you know?
Yeah, your gift will definitely make room for you.
Yeah. But don't force something to be your gift just because you think it's cool. Like, there's a lot of people that, like, I want to be a musician, and that's not their gift, So be confident in what you're best at. Go for it. 100%. Love it. And love life.
Yeah.
Because life's pretty great.
Yeah, and life is short too, so
yeah,
no,
for sure.
Tomorrow's not promised, as I'm sure all of y'all know, or most of y'all know.
do you have any last words of wisdom, any creative ideas that you want to throw out to our awesome people?
I would say when it comes to certain, do not overthink everything.
Yeah.
Is that the way I want to say it?
I mean, I think that's really awesome.
And I would say definitely, I was with another graphic designer. They had some quote on their laptop or something, but it was just create every day, even if it's ugly. Create every day. Create something.
Yeah.
Because that's only going to build toward whatever your craft is in. It's only going to build towards that. So even you might not be too good at whatever it is, just create something every day. It'll hone your skills and just hone certain aspects of it.
Yeah, totally. So comment below how you're going to get creative this week. Have a great, awesome weekend, awesome week. Wherever you're listening to, have a great day. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, go out, open your creative box. This has been the Social Toolkit, and we'll see you next week. Bye.